What's up, guys? Welcome to the X3 Drop. I'm Xell.
And I'm Ducky.
And today we are talking about something spicy.
Something hot.
Something volcanic.
Something molten.
That was the next one I was going to use.
God is that?
Got me. But we're going to be talking about some of our hot takes in the One Piece TCG community. And we asked you guys to help chip in. We asked you guys on YouTube, we asked you guys on Patreon, and we asked you guys on Twitter what your guys' hot takes were, and we're going to go over some of these and discuss them a little bit.
Yeah, totally. And do you want to introduce the Patreon here?
Yeah, so like I said, we asked the patrons for their opinion. So, hey, if you guys want to join the Patreon, come join www.patreon.com/XellTCG. If you guys want to help support the podcast, join our Discord. And I think we want to do more like community-related events and ideas and stuff like that. And you guys will be the first people we turn to. So with that said, if you guys can support us, that'd be awesome. And it keeps us going. So
yeah, and you guys get an extra episode every week for those of you guys who have been thirsting for where's the next X3 drop? When's that coming out? Always comes out Wednesday.
Yep.
But you guys ask anyways. You get an extra one.
you get an extra one,
yeah. You know?
You get an extra one. So, yeah, for bonus content and all that, go see the Patreon. But yes, today, hot takes, OPTCG, and boy, did we get some good takes, I think. So, yeah, do you want to get us started on that?
Yeah. We got, from the YouTube community post, Ryan Clark 3559, who says, I think that every leader should have a usable stage, and you should be able to start with it and play unrelated to color. For example, there would be 1,000 Sunny stage that can only be used by Straw Hats. So this is kind of an interesting one, right? I think that people in the community have talked about how stages are perhaps maybe a little underutilized and maybe one-dimensional when it comes to the depth or complexity when it comes to the gameplay itself. And I think that if you were to introduce stages that are paired with leaders, so effectively like a dual leader kind of deal, right? A package deal, it might introduce a bit of complexity and depth to the game that didn't exist before. But the only caveat to that is that I'm a little worried about how complicated things and how convoluted things can get with an additional piece like a stage paired with your leader.
Yeah. I mean, like decks like Reiju, for example, my God, they take so many game actions with their stage and all the other nonsense that they're doing. So I can definitely see that. I think the idea, though, is kind of interesting. Like, I think I originally misread this because he wants like stages or she wants stages that go across colors, right? And it's like a typing thing. And I think that's kind of interesting. And like you were saying earlier, I do think stages are kind of underutilized. Like most of the stages that we see are just kind of generic, hey, you can search once a turn type of dealio, which is not that exciting, right? So I think maybe expanding on what stages do in the future is kind of neato. I don't know how hot would you put this take?
On a scale of 1 fire emoji to 5 fire emojis, this is a little lukewarm. Maybe a 3 and a half.
Yeah. Cooking on medium low. They're sautéing the onions.
Yeah. You got to sweat the onions out.
Yeah.
You got to get that juicy Maillard reaction. You know what I mean?
Oh, what a knower.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a chef myself.
Oh, he's been known to cook in the kitchen, also known as his bathroom.
That's facts. That's a story for another time.
You'll catch more of that on the preview. But yeah, I think the idea is cool.
I think so too. It can add just a little bit more dimension to the gameplay. So I think that Ryan Clark, you're cooking.
Yeah,
you're cooking.
Let's get on to the next one. We've got John Seraphim 4407. One Piece should eventually add 3 or 4 color leaders and alternative ways to win, like Milnami.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a 2-for-1er here. This is, I think, a take that I've seen quite a bit. I think like people are like, hey man, we've got 1 color leaders, we've got 2 color leaders. How about 3? How about 4? Technically, we have a 5 color leader in the Rainbow Luffy. Yeah. So I think people are kind of pining for that, but I think it's too early for the game to really support it. I think we're still figuring out what is kind of allowed in even just 2 colors. Like the new Roger leader that just got announced is a 2-color 5 life leader, 7K, but it has kind of like detrimental abilities attached to it. So I feel like the designers are still kind of figuring things out, because like before it was that if you're 2 colors, you're always a 4 life leader unless you were one of those can attack ones,
or you're RP kid. Yeah, which effectively, let's be real, you can't attack.
you're a little 4K guy. Yeah, no wonder you got Divine Departure by Shank. Sorry, I had to put that in there.
I don't watch the anime, but even I know that.
Yeah,
my man's got the reference. Smoked.
But I think it's just like we don't even have good identities yet for 2 colors, right? So I think maybe someday, OP24, maybe we'll see a 3-color leader.
Run the campaign. OP24, 3-color leader, 4-color leader, Rainbow Luffy legal in local play.
Wow, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see.
And next up, the second part of John Seraphim 4407. Alternative ways to win, like Milnami. I think Milnami is a really cool kind of concept to exist within the One Piece TCG. Alternative win conditions have existed in other card games, like Hearthstone, for example. For those of you guys who have played that, Togwaggle is like...
Togwaggle?
It's kind of a new... Like, you played when it was kind of old, but I had revisited Hearthstone years ago, and Togwaggle Druid was kind of a thing.
When did Hearthstone come out?
Long time ago, man.
2014? No. Is it a 10-year-old game yet?
2013, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, it's over 10 years old.
Wow.
I think 2013.
2013?
Yeah.
That thing can almost
or
drive.
2013 or 2014.
Oh my
like one of those 2 years for sure.
I was gonna say, because I played in the olden days. I didn't even play before they even separated out like the what's the old format versus the new format?
Oh, I can't even wild and classic.
Yeah. So like I stopped playing even before they denoted those.
Yeah. So Togwaggle is way after that, but it was just an alternative win condition for Druid, kind of specifically. You didn't really see that in any other deck. I can't even remember if it was class locked, but I think those decks are really cool. I think the only kind of tightrope that you do have to walk as a designer is that you can't make it too obnoxious to play against. A lot of these decks that have alternate win conditions are kind of frustrating for players, especially newer players, where they have to change the game plan so drastically from what they're used to that they get frustrated with the game, right? Just like playing against Blue Nami currently, a lot of people, as you've seen in our tournament arc episode, just hate playing against it. They complain about how the deck is uninteractive, but I think you interact a lot with that deck. You have to do a lot of kind of tiptoeing around what they could possibly have and kind of just chipping them away and just playing the most optimal way you possibly can based on what information they have given you.
Yeah, coming from that side of things, like I actually think Nami is such a cool designed leader because it isn't doing its own thing. It's not uninteractive. It still uses One Piece rules. Like you swing into it and it tries to use counter events to mill itself. I actually think that's very interesting and really well designed. Now, like you were saying, if they make it so that it is too uninteractable, too outside the normal rules of One Piece, we're going to have problems. There's going to be riots in the streets. People will come after the designers' heads. Like it'll get ugly. So like specifically, I think all these alternate WinCon leaders are leaders that people naturally tend to dislike because they're alternate, right? And I'm grouping in leaders like Blackbeard,
Buggy, maybe
Buggy, BY. Like they have their kind of own separate WinCon. Like Buggy, you need 5 cards that are 5 cost and above, and then you kind of win the game. Blackbeard, if you get to 10 Dawn and you can play and you have Burgess on board, you kind of just win the game. Yeah, so they're not technically.
BY, you're a 9K leader.
Yeah, if you hit me too
game.
hard, 9K leader, you can't hurt me. Let's be real. So I think these leaders already kind of exist in a weird way, and I think they're already the leaders that people kind of dislike anyways. But that being said, I don't care. I don't care that people don't like it.
Yeah. I also don't care because a lot of these classically disliked decks with those quote unquote alternate win conditions, I don't think are that frustrating to play against. You do have to change how you operate just a little bit, just tweak your game plan a little bit, but it's not really uninteractive or frustrating in any kind of way. It's not like you're playing as Bonnie.
Okay, somehow we're getting even hotter. Let's go to the next take.
Twisticles, or some would refer to him as Twisticles, starts off with, he actually has 3 different takes, but we'll start off with the first third of his hot takes here. And he reads, only one color should have searchers. This is molten.
It is straight from the depths of hell.
Oh my God. This is beneath the core of the earth.
Insane.
This is so hot. Only one color should have searchers is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that is an actually absurd take. I guess
I like it though.
I think the game would be so much worse without searchers.
100%. This is a 5 fire emoji out of 5 fire emoji take.
But I'm kind of curious I guess we've seen what the game looks like without searchers. If you've played like Shanks.
Man, it's so miserable.
Yeah.
It's just so miserable.
I don't know if we want to live in that world.
Nah.
But yeah. Okay, let's move on to the second hot take from Twisticles. I like saying it Twisticles like he's a Greek.
Yeah, he's a philosopher. Yeah, and then on the flip side, during nighttime, he drinks too many beers. He turns into Twisticles.
Twisticles and Twisticles. Hyde and Jekyll.
Yeah.
The second take is that 4 life dual color leaders should always be 5 life. I added always, but it should be 5 life.
You did touch on this a little earlier about Gold Roger, right? Gold Roger being a dual color leader with 5 life and has the ability to attack. Obviously, he does have the detriment where he's kind of deramped every turn, so he's behind a Dawn, but he does swing for 6, I guess. Like, it's not an equal trade-off, but it's not completely a detriment.
Yeah, I mean, having the ability to swing is such a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
I think it will be seen how much of his detriment compares to the likes of, say, Rebecca or Vivi or whatever. But I think the designers are clearly playing around with the idea. They're flirting with the idea that we can have 4 or double colored leaders that have more than 4 life, because in the modern era of One Piece, we move faster than we used to. We're just more vicious and violent, and being at 4
more
life,
athletic.
We're more athletic. It's just the nature of modern.
Water.
It's just
GMOs. Some in the corn.
We just have the growth hormones, right? We're just stronger, taller, faster than ever before, and I think being a 4 life leader does feel like a death sentence in a lot
of metas, for sure. Especially with cards that exist like 6 cost SEC Luffy from EBO2, like Hodi Jones, like cards that have banish or double attack. Like, this makes playing a 4 life leader kind of frightening.
Yeah. And really, when you think about it now, if you're a 4 life leader, you're either the most aggressive thing known to mankind. You're like a small chihuahua in a Asian family. Those things are vicious, violent, only knows how to attack and bark.
Or like the Pomeranians that for some reason come equipped with a handgun. Like, I don't know what kind of...
Go do a crime.
Yeah. What kind of breeder did I get this from?
But the other hand of that is you're a 4 life leader that has access to Cum Cum Giant.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's either or.
So you're like 19,000 Pomeranians. You just can't kill them all. You just can't.
Yeah, it's just a wall.
Yeah,
a great wall of Pomeranians.
I don't care how many bazookas you got.
Just out of sheer anger in that wall, it will find a way.
Yeah, +4, draw 2.
So yeah, I think it's an interesting design space, and I think it's something that the designers, like I said before, they're kind of working around it. Yeah,
for sure.
And I think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. The third part of Twisticles and or Twisticles
Depends on how much we like this take.
He says stages were mishandled in this game. Not enough interaction. I think he's kind of cooking here. Twisticles. Though I wouldn't use the word mishandled, probably. Maybe not handled enough is what I would say. I think that the prevalence of stages in this game currently is a bit one-dimensional, right? Like a lot of stages function to make certain decks a bit more consistent, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I would like to see more stages like Shanks' Red Force that just do unique stuff that
like helps power up that
that particular archetype, right? Or like Calgara Upper Yard, right? Things of that nature that are flavored correctly, I think are really cool to see. But if I am seeing more full of leads,
discard a card, draw 3, look at the top 3, choose one of your archetype.
Yeah, I don't want to see more Rev Army HQs
Feeling
or more.
Daring, are we?
You know, like I don't want to see more of those, man.
Yeah, I think for sure. I think the designers are scared of stages a little bit. I wonder if maybe he's onto something in the sense that like if they're too powerful, now we need interaction with them, right? But as of right now, it's like okay that stages don't have that much interaction against them because they're not that, I don't know, powerful.
Sure,
game
not
warping.
yet.
Not yet. So I would love to see them play around with stages more and see where that can lead. Now, if that gets us into trouble, maybe we do need some sort of like more effects that are stapled on that deal with stages the way like Tempest Kick Slicer or whatever is also like. But yeah, I would kind of say I would love to see more stages.
Yeah, but the thing about stages too and the lack of interaction with stages is that stages are all bricks, right? So I think that stages are hard to interact with by choice from the designers because it is an active choice for that player to include 4 additional bricks or however X number of additional bricks into your deck for you to get that bonus effect, right?
That's
for
true.
you to make your deck a little bit more consistent, you gotta play 4 bricks.
And we know how impactful that can be.
Yeah.
Right, Josh? War flashbacks against the boa. Oh, Pasadena. Oh, come back, Josh. Come back.
I was in NES lobby.
Let's move on to the next take here. This one we got from our Discord on Patreon. Or Discord attached to our Patreon. Paradox FTW. Best of 3 with sideboards would make tournaments a more competitive experience. That's an interesting one, and one that I feel like this take I hear pretty frequently from my friends who also play Magic, because Magic is also best of 3 with sideboards. And
how big are the sideboards in Magic?
15 cards. So your main deck is 6T, and then you have a 15-card sideboard. So most people would say you have a 75-card deck. The thing is that compared to Magic, the reason why even though I play Magic and all that, I actually disagree with this heavily, is that I think that sideboards don't work well in context of One Piece. Our deck building,
at least currently, maybe.
At least currently. And to be honest, I don't know if there's a world where that changes. And the reason why I'm saying that is that unlike Magic, where you're unrestricted in what cards can be in your deck, we're so restricted, right? We have only the color that's attached to our leader, and then we also are built around our leader's abilities. So it's kind of like twofold. We're like kind of stuck behind.
Even on top of that, you have decks that are color locked, decks that are leader locked or leader ability locked, and then you have decks that have to build around a certain archetype, right?
Within
that function within that sphere.
Yeah, and so our decks are much more streamlined and unilateral, and I think sideboard cards are just too powerful in One Piece. Like, imagine having access to sideboard against Nami players, and you just always have access to Gion Pudding and all. I think it would just be impossible for some decks to even exist. And so I think if we added sideboards to the game, I actually think we would kill deck diversity like super hard.
Yeah. You would see a lot less of these rogue decks that will catch you off guard strictly because you just sideboard a certain card that will just win you aggro matchups or win you control matchups.
Like, what the heck is Bello Betty going to do game 2, game 3 with a sideboard? Like,
more Karasu.
yeah. You didn't put them in the first place?
Yeah.
But
what do you think about maybe instead of 15 cards like Magic does, what if it's like 4? What if it's like way more limited? Still bad?
I think that's maybe a little better in the way that you can't hard knock down
just
things.
Like small little choices, right? But then you would see blue decks, everybody would be sideboarding Pudding.
Yeah.
Like things of that nature.
So I still don't know if I would like that much better, to be honest. Like, even at a 4-card sideboard, it also just hard benefits certain decks way more.
Yeah, totally
imagine like these good stuff decks like Shanks, Bonnie, and stuff like that. Their sideboards are going to be naturally much more powerful. So I just don't see sideboards working. And this is just me, this is my own personal thing, but I also dislike best of 3 anyways for One Piece as well to begin with, because we have a dice roll system and most decks operate much better going first or second. And so if you're playing best of 3, well, the person who won die roll gets to play on their good curve twice anyways. So it sort of kind of negates the benefits of doing a best of 3 in the first place.
I guess the argument there is that yes, I think a lot of decks and a lot of matchups are dice roll dependent. So somebody getting 2 out of the 3 favorable outcomes it'll heavily benefit them, but it's still better than maybe a BO1 where, like, if one person wins the die roll, then they're heavily benefited. But if you're playing a longer series, let's say a BO3, a BO5, a BO7, the player that has more dice roll wins will have the upper hand, but the variance is decreased over a longer series.
Yes, and I think I understand why, like, from a competitive experience, why that would be good. But also, on the other hand, it just makes tournaments way longer, man.
Infinitely longer.
It's just so much longer. And One Piece tournaments are long enough as is. Our Swiss tournaments run 12 hours sometimes. Like, we just need to make them fast. I enjoy the fact that our tournaments go so quickly.
Pick it up. Just pick it up. I know some of you guys go to time. You don't need to go to time. Why is a Bella Betty going to time? Pick it up!
Yeah. So that's my take on it. I actually disagree, but I think as a take, that's like a medium. Yeah. We're sizzling a little bit.
Yeah, you're cooking a little bit. Next up, we got Thomas Q 9189, who says, even though most cards are cheaper than other card games, the scarcity of prints makes One Piece almost as expensive. Combine that with them almost always being out of stock at an LGS or big box retailers, makes the game difficult to get into. This is something that I used to hear quite a lot during the earlier years of One Piece's lifespan.
Yeah. Are we old timers now?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think we are early adolescents.
Okay. I didn't know what to say to that face, so I didn't say anything.
Even when I got into the game, and probably around when you got into the game too, is OP04-ish, right? Back then, the game was bigger than ever, and product was hard to find. Even OP04, which was, at the time, a very undesirable set. A lot of the chase cards were not people's favorite, right? Like when OP05 came out, impossible to find product. Very hard. If you were to just go to a Target and try to find some loose OP05 packs, impossible. So
actually
hard.
impossible.
Like actually impossible. But when it came to OPO4, like you were able to find some of the packs at like a Target or Walmart, but even then it was still very hard, right? Like without reprints of OPO2, OPO1, OPO3, cards that were staples from those previous sets were very expensive and very hard to find.
Yeah, SRs from OPO2, Kuzan, Borsellino, they were like $40 each.
Crazy.
Just for an SR. And I think we've come a long way since then, which is great.
Now they're 4 cents.
Some of the SRs. I mean, the expensive SRs still hover around like the $10 range, but I think
that's like
pretty average. Yeah,
you could get a playset of those SRs previously for the price of one Kuzan.
Yeah. And so I think nowadays the deck prices are much more reasonable. And I think because so far there isn't a rotation yet introduced, like you can feel good about buying something that will be used in the future, because like most SRs are just generically good and they will kind of rotate in and out of play. So as you build your collection, I think it gets easier to stay in. Now, that being said, like I can understand, it kind of depends on what you want out of the price point, because I think, again, I keep bringing up Magic, but Magic these days, even standard, is quite expensive. Like decks tend to run you $200, $300, which is kind of where One Piece is at right now. So I don't know what it's like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Land and Lorcana, how expensive decks are.
Pokemon?
Pokemon's pretty cheap, I think.
I don't know anything about Pokemon.
I think Pokemon generally is dirt cheap if you get base rare stuff.
Even the good stuff for your tournaments?
Yeah, I think so. I might be wrong there, but I think most of their decks are like under 100.
It feels cheap.
Yeah,
That
feels
cardboard.
Yeah, that cardboard feels
God,
cheap.
that feels cheap.
You buy the cards and they're just so off center
Crazy.
and paper thin.
Yeah, this is near mint.
Yeah. It's warped like a Dorito.
What the heck?
So
What kind of single ply toilet paper is this?
But it's not to disregard. I'm sure this person is frustrated with and we're very blessed that we live in SoCal and our stores just have everything all the time. So
Because they're huge players in the national market, so they just have crazy access to what other LGSs may not have access to. So I totally understand this guy's sentiment.
Yeah, so not to say like, oh, we don't believe you or anything like that, but I think it just has gotten so much better in a way that, I think it could still be even better. But
for sure, can be better.
I think it's
gotten better.
Yeah,
it's gotten better,
okay.
and I think it will continue to get better.
Mm-hmm,
so,
exactly.
Head up, Thomas Q.
Yeah,
things are looking good.
Yeah, things will get better. All right, so next up we have Bobo Sousa 4707. Blackbeard isn't hard to counter. A lot of people just get skill diffed. Skill diff is sorry to just like say that out loud. It's kind of Ducky and I's trigger word. It's just something that I generally dislike, but I kind of am with it in this case.
I agree with Bobo
Sousa
USA.
Oh, Bobo's USA. Yeah. Oh, maybe that's how you're supposed to pronounce that name. But like I think a lot of people dislike these. We talked about it before. These decks that kind of have alternate game plans: Blackbeard, BY, Luffy, Nami, etc. These decks have a very specific way that you have to learn how to play into, and if you're not putting in that work, you're gonna get smoked. Right? And so I think I understand what they're saying, but I think some decks just don't really have a good answer to Blackbeard, and that's kind of the problem,
Like
right?
Lucci. Yeah. You just die.
You just without on plays, you really don't exist as a deck, right? So same thing if you're playing Shanks. Oh, you just don't have any rushers, and now your on plays don't work? Okay. Wrap it up. Blackbeard just wallops you. So
yeah, fundamentally, you would have to change game plans a little bit. You'd have to tweak your game plan in order to fit or suit Blackbeard's own game plan. But yeah, I think generally this take I agree with. I don't know if I would go so far to say skill diff, but yeah, I think a lot of people just don't know the matchup that well. And Blackbeard, I think also, yeah, they're right. Isn't that hard to counter?
they cooking.
You're cooking here, Bobos USA. Next up, we got Coach Kobo from Twitter, who said, "I'll be the one to say it. The game was healthier when Rob Lucci was relevant in the meta. Gatekeeping Rogue and Green decks was a privilege, and I miss him every day."
I like the delivery there. Yeah. Very well done.
He had the heartbreak emoji, so I had to switch it up a little bit.
Had to hit the drama on that one. This is a hot take, I think, because people hate the Catman.
People do hate the Catman, but what I will say right now, Coach Kobo, shake my hand. Get these green decks out of here. I don't want to see any more of these green decks. Bonnie, get them out of here.
Josh is just like, oh, you said my, like love languages, hating green.
Oh my God.
Number one love language
my
for Ducky.
Goat.
Outside of just specifically hating green, I think this is a kind of an interesting take, and I kind of agree.
I actually kind of agree as well.
I think we miss having a removal deck that's relevant in the format. I think so much of our current format is just about completely overtaking somebody over the top with purple ramp, or you're going super underneath with decks like Zoro, Bello Betty, etc. Like, there's not a lot of stuff that's in between, and so in some ways, I feel like we're missing that third piece of the trifecta, the way to keep world peace, in a harmonious, balanced state. And I think the problem with Lucci was just that he was just too relevant for too long, and I think people got sick of his same old cat tricks.
Yeah. The cat was out of the bag for a while now.
Far too long.
But I think people were also frustrated with Lucci because he survived like 4 bans. He just did not care. He just will not die. So I don't know. Like, Lucci, I want to say, is kind of still relevant in the meta. I think right now just a little less so, because without access to Moria, he doesn't have big beaters. He relies solely on interaction, and in a meta where interaction seldom exists, with cards like Tashigi, with cards like Rosinante, with cards like Mike Hawk. You just cannot interact with your board at all. But aside from those particular decks, like, Lucci is still quite strong.
Yeah, I kind of want removal and interaction to come back in some ways. I feel like, we were at a point where we were sort of like at removals beck and call a little bit, where we couldn't really play the game without thinking about removal in mind. And I think we've gone kind of like too far in the other direction, where now we just like are so protected from everything. We've got Beige, we've got Tashigi, we've got Mike Hawk, we've got, all these cards that say you can't touch my board. Burgess, yeah. Burgess is just built in.
Kuzan.
Yeah. I think we just have too much of that stuff. I think in the Blackbeard's case, at least that's locked to 1 leader, really. But these other cards, they're in every deck that can reasonably run them. And I think that's not great for the game, maybe. I don't know. But I think he's cooking. Coach Kobo.
Coach Kobo, you're cooking.
Cooking.
Next up.
All right. We've got, I think, Coach Kobo's friend on OPTCG Twitter, by OPTCG Lover. They're like a group of Twitter guys who just constantly shitpost, and it's very funny. And I think this is, in the vein of some of their shitposts, but I still think it's an interesting thing to talk about. So let's read through it. Why did they give GP and Black Purple the best rush card in the game? This card is so broken. It fundamentally changes how you have to calculate your opponent's potential lethals while it's not even on the board. They need to ban this card. This is in reference to 6-cost SEC Luffy.
From EBO2.
From EBO2, yes.
This is a pretty hot take, I think. But I kind of want to preface this with the first part of this take, right? Why did they give GP and BP, BP referring to Purple Black, the best rush card in the game? This is a very, very good rush card. However, is it the best in the game? Do you think this card would see play if purple black and green purple were not Luffy leaders? If these decks did not have access to Gum Gum Giant, would this card see play?
Oh man, definitely less play. For sure less play. But I don't think it would go away completely. I do think this card is up there in one of the best rushers in the game. But that being said, that list is quite small. There's not that many good rushers, right?
One that comes to mind is Hodi Jones.
Yeah, like Hodi Jones has to be number one.
Right. 10 cost Shanks is pretty good.
10 cost Shanks. Actually, the rush list is pretty good.
Yeah.
We've got Dragon.
Dragon is awesome. 3-5 Zoro is awesome.
Goldie Roger.
9
Kid and Killer.
9-10 SEC Luffy from OPO 9.
Yeah, he's good too.
Yeah.
So,
like, is this even in the top 5? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know if it's that broken, but I think OPTCG lover, Robert, if I can call you Robert, I think it is incredible in GP and PB. Like those decks specifically, because they operate the way they do, because GP has access to Sanji Pudding, because PB has their particular leader ability. When you -2 Dawn, you get 2 back. One of them is active. Why is that happen? That's crazy. Just because of how these leaders function, this card is just awesome in those decks.
Yeah, I think these it's like a perfect storm, right? And he's just at the center of it. It's like, okay, well, he's a purple Straw Hat, and we know purple Straw Hat cards are very good right now, and they work even better in conjunction with each other. So I think it's just like one of those things where the sum of its parts have just become so powerful that even though I don't think individually this card is that powerful, in context of Zorojuro existing, in context of Gum Gum Giant existing, in context of all these other great purple Straw Hat cards existing,
it's incredible.
This card's incredible.
It's so good, yeah.
So,
do you think this card needs to be banned, though?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
Robert, leave it in the oven for a little longer. Cook a little longer with that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's an undercook or overcook.
It's cooked regardless.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Foom63. Who is yelling in the microphone, screaming in the microphone on the streets, on the overpass of the freeway. Free Jinbe!
It's like Free Willy.
Yeah.
I want to see that movie.
Free James. I'm with
in
you.
A fish tank in SeaWorld.
I'm with you, Fooms. I'm with you.
Let him out of SeaWorld.
Yeah, I think that of the current banned cards on the banned card list, the first card that I would ban is Jinbe.
Yeah, I think so.
I just think that maybe back then it was fine to ban him because it was insanely dominant, right? It was insanely consistent. It made the Dovi deck just way too powerful. But now that we have access to cards like Promo Buggy, and Promo Buggy.
Yeah, Promo Buggy with the backup of my cock.
Yeah, right? And in addition to that, you have decks that are very meta relevant, like GP Luffy, who's a 6K leader, UP, who's also a 6K leader. Things like that make James a little less scary.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're at a point now where One Piece is... I don't want to call it power creep because I feel like as a term that suggests that we're just way more powerful than we once were.
Yeah, power weirdo. How about that? He's not quite a creep yet.
Yeah.
He's just a little
power
weird
vibes.
Yeah, just a little off guy.
Just a little off.
Power off guy.
Power off guy. I think we've gotten to a point where the defensive tools have gotten just generically better. I think part of that is just because we have worse things to deal with. We have Bello Betty to deal with. So people are playing even more defensive cards than they ever used to. And so I think we're more well equipped to deal with the shenanigans of Dofi. And by the way, Jinbe is like one of the least it's one of the most restrictive cards on the ban list, and that really only 2 leaders care to play that card. So, yeah, I think it's safe.
Yeah, it's probably even safer of a card to unban than Raigo, right? Because giving yellow leaders like it now, access to Rygo again when metas are so tall will make that deck very frustrating to play against.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I think so. So maybe leave him on house arrest. Give him a little anklet.
Yeah, I mean, he did commit some crimes.
Yeah,
he did commit
he
some
needs
crimes.
to do his time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll maybe after
him on
some
probation.
community service.
Yeah, pick up some trash on the freeway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Next up, we have a take from our good friend Tempest Ringa, who goes to our locals. Shout outs to RWT and Crossing. GGG balanced, he says.
With the sweat emoji. Yeah, with the sweat emoji. I think sweat emoji is right. This card is certainly not what I would call balanced. But will it get banned?
Yeah, because, okay, spoiler alert, our next take was that Gum Gum Giant will be banned by Tutorial 464.
Just how an urban person would say tutorial, right? Tutorial.
Is that like a Boston accent?
Yeah,
like, what
maybe.
Is that?
Yeah.
And
walking a tutorial.
Gum Gum Giant is certainly a card that I would consider busted, right? I think the reason why I would define it as that is that without it, I think decks might not exist, which says how powerful it is. I go back and forth on this a little bit because I think One Piece overall has shown that if you're a deck that was at one point tier 1, it's usually not because it's just like the cards that you are supported with that makes you there. It's like usually the combination of just your leader being really strong with the support. Yeah. We've seen it time after time. Whitebeard, brother still exists. Zoro still exists. Lucci, goddamn, he won't die. We've banned so many cards from him. He still hangs around.
Purple Luffy. We're here to stay until the rotation kicks us out.
Yeah, so that's the thing is like I think even if Gum Gum Giant maybe gets banned, I don't know, maybe they survive. But I will say that card is certainly not one that I would consider balanced.
Yeah, it's certainly not balanced. Whether or not it'll be banned is really hard to say, but it is on the chopping block. If one person were to be executed out of this squad, it would definitely be Gum Gum Giant, I think. Yeah.
Gum Gum Giant has its own wanted poster in the East Blue.
100%.
Sure. You see that chancla.
Yeah. That bounty might be higher than
3
Shanks,
billion.
low-key. Yeah. that boy a Yonko on his own.
Yeah. The 5th Emperor.
Yep. And then we got another take from HH Gamers 3313, who said GGG is a busted card, but it'll make the purple-based Straw Hat leaders, other than maybe UP Luffy, dog shit. And they won't survive in today's meta.
Okay, so I don't know about dog shit, but it's certainly true that I think blue-purple has the least to lose from Gum Gum Giant.
Maybe even purple Luffy. I think mono purple Luffy can still do well without Gum Gum Giant.
Yeah, like purple Luffy kind of has a little more flexibility in that regard. But bro, GP Luffy might be in some pain.
PB as well might also hurt from that. Just because those two decks,
depending on who you talk to,
them two cocks got a lot of bricks.
Yeah. They are bricked up.
Them dicks be bricked. Yeah.
Yeah, as 4-life leaders, especially, I think they would feel it the most to have such a strong defensive card be out of their sort of toolkit. But that being said, like I was saying earlier, I just think these leaders are just strong, man. And so I think maybe purple black hasn't ever been truly tier 1, so maybe that's the deck that doesn't survive truly. But I think the other decks might find a way. Maybe GP Luffy starts going taller, right? Like in the current day of age of GP, they're very low to the ground and they just kind of kill you quickly with like 4 drops. But maybe we start seeing more of like the 9-drop style or 10-drop style where you try to actually ramp up. Maybe, I don't know. That's
it's interesting.
Yeah, but a lot of his cards want him to be lower. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think GP definitely hurts the most from a GGG ban, But I don't know. We'll see. Would they survive in today's meta? I think some of them very well might, right? Like Purple Luffy, I think we'll be fine without it. UP, I think we'll be fine without it. Nico Robin dies entirely.
And was that deck ever alive? I'm sorry. Hey, don't look at me like that.
Hey, you Nico Robin lovers, come after us.
No, I like Nico Robin as a character, not as a deck. So yeah. Next up, we have Atrocious Jake with a take. I genuinely think Hodi Jones is going to be banned. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Hodi is a card that people do talk about, right? Like, if you were to put your finger on the pulse of the community, people hate Gum Gum Giant. People hate Hodi Jones. These are the cards that people hate putting. Like, these are the cards that I hear a lot of discourse about constantly, meta in, meta out.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done the top 10 green cards lists yet.
Hodi's on there.
But Hodi might be in the top 2.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think so too.
And I think specifically in context of the kind of meta that we're in, where we're in a hold your dawn open meta, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's where Hodi is at his best because like almost I think all the purple Luffy's, like if you don't have access to Dawn, you're so much less tanky.
100%.
Because the threat of Giant obviously is gone. So with that being said, do I think Hodi Jones is gonna get banned?
I
don't think so, man.
Yeah, I don't think so either. If they were to get rid of Gum Gum Giant, then Hodi I think is fine on its own. If they don't ban Giant, I think Hodi also needs to exist. So I think that Hodi is fine. Hodi James is going to be okay.
We have the new event that kind of does the Hodi thing anyways, right? Because that event can also rest Dawn.
I believe that is the case.
So if that's the case, then I just don't see Hodi being banned. I can understand the frustration with Hodi, don't get me wrong, but I truly don't believe that it'll get touched.
I don't think so either. Next up, we've got our good friend Dobogi K3 Soju on Twitter, who just says, just unban everything. All hell break loose, la.
Yeah, the Singaporean. Yeah, this reminds me, have you ever watched the movie Cabin in the Woods?
I have not.
There's a very famous scene where basically they just have a basement full of all the demons, monsters. Like it's a fun movie. I highly recommend it. But there's a famous scene where basically everything gets launched free and they just all swarm out. And that's kind of how I imagine this. If they said, unban Moby Dick, unban Kabaji Moji, just all these heathen monsters, gremlins come out. I don't think we're ready for that world.
I also don't think so. I also don't want to see RP Law. I just really don't want to see RP Law with Black Maria. Like, I just do not.
Yeah. I mean, you have nightmares about it still.
Yeah.
And we never even played against that deck.
Am I protected by Buggy?
Low key, a little bit, huh?
Unban everything.
Yeah, but regardless, like even if they unban everything, we'd just be in Namiville. Hangers would be at an all-time high.
Oh my god, I love Hanger. I love Hanger so much. Yeah, Nami would be an absolutely insane deck. That card just, I think Kabaji Moji just cannot exist.
Yeah.
That card is so good.
Yeah. So I think with that said, I think unbanning everything is a little too crazy.
I think so too.
But I get the sentiment a little bit. I think there are cards that deserve truly to never exist in the game. Moby Dick, Kabaji Moji. That might be it.
RP Law.
RP Law. Yeah.
RG Law. Bonnie.
I don't think I've heard of those cards on the ban list. But,
interesting.
Yeah. But I think I generally enjoy seeing the meta evolve with the tools that we have. And sometimes I think banning too many things makes the game a lot less interesting. So
yeah, for sure.
I think, yeah.
I also think Dobogi is the type of guy, he's like your thinker's thinker, right? He's the type of guy who likes a lot of options because he'll figure out what works and what doesn't work, right? So the more tools that he has, the more he feels enabled, right? Only a poor carpenter blames his tools.
I like that. I like that.
So
how wise.
Yeah, I think he's just a guy that strives in a chaotic environment. And his ability as a player really shines there as a deck builder as well.
Well, moving on, we have another take from Paradox FTW. GGG doesn't need to be banned. You just need to learn to play around it or tech for it. Huh.
This one is a little bit spicy because people complain about it a lot. However, I actually kind of agree with Paradox here.
Oh?
Yeah. I could see why you would want this to be banned. But as a guy who plays into Gum Gum Giant a lot, just like playing a lot locally at regionals on the sim, just being around in the community and inevitably playing into this card, I never really see it too much as a problem. I have kind of a strict game plan that I follow is like, you have to get them out eventually, right? So you just swing base 6 into a 6 liter, 5 into a 5 liter. Like eventually their hand size is going to get small enough that they have to give you a giant, or you swing 2 over and they give you a giant, they over counter. I'm happy with that too. I typically don't have a problem with it unless you're playing like UP and you're insanely tanky. You got 5 Dawn open. I can't hurt you. Yeah. I can't even remotely try to hurt you. I could have like nukes and I couldn't hurt you.
Yeah, I think this one's I'm kind of interested in what tech really exists for Gum Gum Giant. Like, would you run
Chopper? I played this at Vegas regionals
okay.
strictly for Gum Gum Giant, right? Because I was having issues against GP very specifically. Chopper actually just won me like 2 games in Swiss.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess like the problem I would say is that not every deck can viably tech against it, you know? Like Red has that Frankie that buffs all your units if they use an event. What else is there? There's Gion, kind of.
Not really even that card. But
Pudding is the better card, to be honest.
Yeah, Pudding is good.
But it's not reliable. So I
Fellow
don't
Betty
know.
Leader is good.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can make your opponent a 4K leader and swing 8K into it, turns out Giant doesn't get you there by itself. So
beast.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of disagree though, because I think that Gum Gum Giant just is so powerful.
It is insanely powerful.
That it's not really like something that you play around. It's just like an inevitability that you must play through. I don't know if that makes sense.
It's Thanos, right?
I am inevitable. I turned it to...
That was Thanos? Like you had a stroke. Come on.
I turned it to the guy who takes you to the other islands in Animal Crossing.
What's the Kappa? The Kappa?
The captain.
Oh, the Dodo
with the sunglasses.
Guy.
With the Dodo Airlines. I turned it to him there.
That one was crazy.
I don't know what happened to my brain there.
But yeah, I mean, I think you're totally right? Giant is like Thanos. It is inevitable. But like the Avengers, you're going to beat it. Don't worry about it. You just have to. Sometimes Tony Stark dies, but you'll get there. I don't know.
It's not even true. I think sometimes you just don't get there.
In an alternate unit, in like every unit, you're Doctor Strange. Every other universe, you're like,
ain't no time stone saving you. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a pretty hot take. I don't know. I sit on the side of I'm not sure if I agree, but okay. Next one we have Hattori. The other hot take I stand firm on is Blackbeard is the best deck in the format.
I think Hattori is referring to the current format, OP11.
Yeah, OP11.
In its current state, that Blackbeard is the best deck in the format. I wouldn't go
That's hot take.
It is very hot. This is a very hot take. I wouldn't go that far. I think Blackbeard is a good leader, and I think it is a great meta call, especially when we were so GP prevalent during that Vegas era, right? But now moving forward a little bit further, we've been seeing the meta develop a little bit more towards UP. There's a lot more tall decks. And I think the current Blackbeard build is quite good into UP. You only play
Interesting.
so many red rocks.
That's true. I guess I see the problem with Blackbeard as, okay, the GP matchup is quite horrific, I think.
It's pretty bad, but I think that now that I've been seeing a little less GP prevalence, Blackbeard is an awesome meta call.
Yeah, I would say, oh man, I think Blackbeard would have been an amazing deck to bring back when all those Bello Betties were going absolutely insane. It's funny because I think for a while people had thought that Bello Betties smashes Blackbeard. Like, oh, we're the most aggressive deck. How is a deck like Blackbeard ever going to survive? But turns out Blackbeard just has so many chump blockers these days, and the removal is just so well aligned for costs that the Bello Betty plays that I think a lot of the top players I've talked to about Blackbeard say that it's actually quite Blackbeard favored. So that being said, UP still is, I think, a difficult matchup for it. So I don't know. I think best deck in format makes me think. When I think of best decks in formats, I think of decks that everybody and their mother are teching for.
Yeah.
Right?
Decks that demand answers. They're meta warping, and I don't think Blackbeard is that.
I don't think it's that yet. And I remember when Blackbeard had a shout as best deck in format back when after the bans, and we were kind of in that like Shanks meta, and everyone was forced to respect Blackbeard. Everyone had to play kind of alternate deck lists specifically to deal with Blackbeard. So yeah, again, I don't know. Hot take. I would say that's a very hot take, and I would love to hear more about why.
Definitely hot take.
Next up, we've got Pizza Hut Kogai 3. Top players who seem to top every event are questionable. This is a hot take. Hot take.
This is indeed a hot take. I have to agree with Pizza Hut Kogai 3. Top players who seem to top every event definitely are questionable. How many of these top players exist? I don't know, because there are a lot of top players who will have hot streaks, right? Jerry, for example, top player, has hot streaks, tops and wins a regional in a set, like 3 out of 4 events. Insane showing in that particular set, in that particular format. Next set comes around, hasn't really done a whole lot. And that's so normal.
Yeah, it's a card game. RNG is involved, right? Yeah, I think I would agree with this. And I think the bad faith take about this would be that, oh, you just aren't as good as these players, and therefore you don't see why they're as good. But the truth is, like, in card games especially, you just have unplayable games. And sometimes you just run into a string of bad luck and you just crash out, right? Like, you just can't play the game. And I assure you, no matter how good you are at a game, like, you just have these games that are just unwinnable. And there are just probably a handful of players that seemingly just get by regardless, and it's just a little weird. And on top of that, we just know also through the vines a little bit that there are certain players that have sort of a negative reputation, and maybe they're not outright cheating necessarily. I'm not saying they are shin-limbing it up to top 8 or something, but exhibit certain behaviors that people would say are less than sportsmanlike, So I know I'm being very, very vague on this. It's just not my place to call people out.
Yeah, we also don't have like all of the facts, like, until these players are specifically outed as cheaters. Like, I would never accuse them of such.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. But that being said, there are certain players, though, that definitely feel like they're just outside the normal RNG bubble, or they're just the luckiest people alive. Maybe. Lightning strikes twice sometimes.
And not to take anything
times.
away. Yeah. Not to take anything away from these players. Like, even like these players are undoubtedly incredible talents at the game. They are so good, and they're top players for a reason. But in a card game with variance to top, Top 64, I guess you could consider a top, but that is very reasonable with top players. Top 32 is pretty reasonable as well. When it gets to like top 8 and top 16, then that's like a little, if you see the same name 12 events in a row, I don't know. That's a little...
It's a little crazy.
This game is not Melee. It's not Street Fighter. There's variance involved, so...
Yeah, the better player doesn't always win. Mm-hmm. So... I think, I agree with it. I think this is definitely a hot take, but I agree with it.
I also agree with this here. Next up, we've got Alinus, who says, I don't think down pairs should happen in tournaments.
Oh, whoa.
Down pairs should get buys, not the people at the bottom of the rankings. Going undefeated and then getting down paired into some rogue deck that already lost games, killing your run is garbage. Even if you win the down pair, that person isn't worth as many points for tiebreakers and still hurts you.
Huh, that's an interesting one.
I have not heard this before.
I have not heard this before, and I also just don't know the math on this because
I also don't.
How does this change your tiebreakers? In One Piece, aren't buys also equally bad for your tiebreakers? If not,
buys are bad for your tiebreakers.
Isn't that even worse than getting down paired?
It is worse than getting down paired.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
I think I don't know. This is a strange take. I think but not strange in that I think they're talking crazy talk. I just don't know.
Yeah. Also, they had mentioned specifically going undefeated and then getting down paired into some rogue deck that had already lost games, plurally. If you're undefeated, you won't get down paired into somebody that's lost more than one game. Yeah. So it likely isn't a rogue deck, or if it is a rogue deck, it's only lost once. So your tiebreakers are still quite good. I think that this is fine and that down pairs exist for tournaments to run efficiently.
Yeah, 100%. I just feel like it's just a function of how it has to happen because we just have awkward numbers for pairings sometimes, and it's one of the more fair ways to handle it. I think down pairs, just as much as from the undefeated side, it's a stroke of bad luck for the down paired person. It's also kind of a stroke of good luck, right? Depending on who wins. So I don't know. I think it's just a natural course of action based off of how tournaments run. I truly don't think that giving a down pair the bye solves much of anything, but I understand because I think everybody hates having bad tiebreakers or when tournaments end a round early and your tiebreakers get messed up for that too. I understand for that situation is just kind of bad for you, but I've been there, at the first Nats, the last round got cut and basically potentially took me out of top 64. I would have been in contention for top 64 had that not happened. So I understand that frustration. But that wasn't actually due to down pairs, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, situation.
I get where Linus is coming from, honestly, because it is just frustrating when there are things that are out of your control that hurt you. But I think the key thing here is to just focus on things that you can control, right? Play as good as you can, win all your games. The person sitting across the table from you is going to play you no matter what. Whether or not they're X1 and it's a down pair or they're undefeated, your goal is to win anyways.
Right.
So just do that.
Yep, exactly. Totally agree. We play a card game, man.
Yeah. Next up, our good friend Real Joshua hits us with the spice with the malatang.
Is malatang spicy?
It's numbing spice. So
okay,
it's pretty spicy, I guess, yeah. And he says, I think OPTCG is on par with other TCGs balance-wise. But I also think it's harder to tell when you are mid at this game, which is why many people feel like their wins or losses are predetermined by matchup.
Okay.
This is kind of loaded.
I was just about to say there's kind of to put my corporate speak on. There's a lot to unpack here. I think
to zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
Actually,
let's
take a look at this at a high level.
Yeah. So okay, I guess step one. OP TCG is on par with other TCGs balance-wise. I agree.
I think so too. I don't know too much about other TCGs when it comes to balance, but I feel like people cry a lot in every game.
Yes.
Like there are the boy who cried Gum Gum Giant.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, in like every card game, right? Like it's going to be Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Hearthstone,
Dude,
Flesh and Blood, Disney card game.
Patch culture has just changed the level of bitching
Yeah.
across games in general. And card games are a part of that.
Yeah. So like when it comes to the outsider's perception when it comes to balance, it feels similar to the other card games.
Yeah, if not better, to be honest.
There's the same amount of bitching.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think okay, that's step one. I also think it's harder to tell when you are mid at this game, I guess, in context versus other games. That I don't know, to be honest.
Okay, so this one is interesting because I can see both sides of the coin, right? Like I would like to think that I'm reasonably competent at this game, so I can tell when my game quality is good or bad. But maybe piggybacking off of a prior hot take that top players who top every event are questionable, maybe those players are not questionable, and those are just the second coming of Shin Lim.
Yeah.
And they're just magicians and are insane at the game. And I might just be mid at this game, and I just cannot tell. I don't know.
I look at it as the skill bell curve, and I think card games especially have this very pronounced bell curve where if you're bad at the game, you blame everything due to RNG.
Yeah,
right?
Which is wrong.
And you're like, oh man, everything is variance. And then you get better at it at the game and you start seeing your mistakes and you're like, oh man, there's so many things I could have done better, blah, blah, blah. And then you get good enough to where like you generally now don't really make mistakes and now suddenly you're back to, oh man.
Variance sucks. Yeah,
variance is what lost me this game. And so I think maybe what he's saying is like certain games have a wider or a more narrow bell curve.
I see.
Maybe.
I see.
But to be honest, I think most of these games are very similar in that regard. Like, I think some games have very obvious places where RNG screws you, right? Like, for example, Hearthstone. Yeah, that Ragnaros nugged you in the face 3 times in a row.
Damn, there were 6 things on board.
That
went
you
face
randomly
3 times.
Yeah, like 1 out of 7 times 3, right? Like, so those are like obvious things where you're like, well, I can't outplay that. That was just perfect. Same thing with Magic lands. Like, oh, I just didn't see my lands. Okay, I lose. And so I think One Piece is a very consistent game for, comparatively. And so I think there are more things that are in your control compared to some of these other games. But I think having known a lot of newer players to Magic and newer players to other card games, it's the same stuff, man. Like, I think everybody blames RNG overly when you're bad, and you get to a point where RNG starts to be the deciding factor in your games, right? So,
yeah. But you have to be this tall to ride.
Yes, exactly. And part of that is like, how do you know if you're past the bell curve or not? And that's tough. I don't know. But
how many cereals you got?
Yeah, we don't got any, so I guess we're still on the bell curve, buddy.
100%. This game sucks.
It's all variance. And then the last part, which is why many people feel like their wins and losses are predetermined by matchup. And I think this is, as a follow-up to the last part of the statement, is like, I do think, again, people probably overly look at the matchup as being why they lost. Don't get me wrong, there are some horrendous matchups in One Piece. My goodness. But did you really play that matchup to your best of your ability, or did you just not know?
I also want to say that this was a concept that I noticed immediately when I started playing One Piece. Like, coming from Hearthstone, there are bad matchups, sure, but they're fine. They're not like bad. We call them barely winning. Like 6-4 is barely win, is slightly favored. But here in One Piece, if a matchup is 6-4, people call that matchup awful. Dog shit matchup. This matchup is fucking hard. It's so bad. The matchup is 6-4, brother.
Yeah,
It's not that you're winning 4 out of 10 games. It is not that bad.
Yeah. I usually say 6-4 is barely winning, and it's only until it's like 7-3 to where it's bad.
Yeah.
And then
8-3,
9-1 is unwinnable, essentially.
Yeah.
That's
but people act like 6-4 is unwinnable.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
You guys are overreacting.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people overly say how bad certain matchups are. I think a lot of people like to use the data that we see on Sim as like their barometer for like, yeah, this see the Sim says it's this percentage number, and I think the Sim numbers aren't perfect, right?
They're not. They're trying to be because they have.
It's a reference that we otherwise wouldn't have.
Yeah, because it's a metric of sheer volume that you just would not be able to have on your own. You're not playing 20 billion games on your own with like 20 different leaders. It's actually just impossible, right? So him publishing these stats for certain leaders is awesome, but please take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and so I think like I think just in general people overly blame the matchups for sure on why they lose. Don't get me wrong. Again, there are bad matchups in this game. I'm not saying that there aren't, but I think one of the places is like better players are able to squeeze out more juice from the
oranges
of the matchup. So yeah. I don't know. That's all I got there.
Yeah, I think so too.
The next one we've got Azul GG. This was a take I found on my timeline. Even though I don't play Pokemon TCGs, sometimes I just get their
I did
stuff.
see this one too.
But this one says the Pokemon TCG is all skill. If you think luck is the reason for any of your lack of success, it's not. You're just bad. I don't know Azul GG. I don't know if this was like a joke necessarily.
I wonder,
not.
Do you think, well, this talks about Pokemon, which I have no knowledge about, but let's take Pokemon and swap it with One Piece. Do you think this applies?
Absolutely not.
I agree.
Absolutely not.
Agree. Brother, this is a card game.
Yeah, it's a card game. I think Pokemon TCG, though, is a very consistent... Okay, I've played exactly like I want to say 2 games of Pokemon in the last 10 years.
Sample size p-value?
Sample size p...
Significant.
Significant, yeah. At least 0.07. Yeah. So I think Pokemon, though, just you have these cards that just let you search your deck and draw so many goddamn cards that the consistency level of the decks are just incredibly, incredibly high. So I think maybe there's maybe more truth in this statement than necessarily for One Piece, but I can tell you for goddamn sure for One Piece, like, even though I just got done saying how One Piece is a fairly consistent game, like, brother, you play against a Bello Betty and they see the nuts against you.
You'll just die.
You just die.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, brother. Like, you just didn't draw all your 2Ks? You're dead. You're dead. I'm sorry. That's just the game. So I think it's crazy to go like, oh yeah, this is all skill. That's why I really hate sort of
skill diff.
I hate that term so much.
Yeah,
You said my trigger word.
Yeah.
That and the sort of associated ego that I see sometimes on my timeline about it, where people go like, I beat you, so I'm better than you. That's crazy. Like, the better player doesn't always win in card games.
The better
especially.
player will just win more.
More, yeah.
Yes.
You play me 100 times and you win more than 50 of them, then I can admit you're the better player, at least in that matchup. Yeah. So, like it is what it is. It's a card game. So
yeah,
this is crazy.
Yeah. To say any TCG is all skill and no luck is, I think, a little delusional. But if this guy's sentiment was that TCGs are a lot about skill and a little bit about luck, I would agree with that. Yeah. There's definitely luck involved, but there's for sure knowledge and skill involved in it too. But how much skill is different from like here to here, which is like the top level? It's like not that much. I think variance plays a big role in that kind of chunk of the pie chart, but you do, once again, need to be this tall to ride.
Yeah. Okay, so just to give it a little spice, like if you were to put a number on it, like 50-50 being equal, like how much percentage do you think one piece is skill and how much do you think is luck? And maybe in context of topping a regional.
Oh man, topping a regional specifically, I think requires a lot of luck.
Right? That's what I'm. How high would you put the luck percentage there?
6-4. 6-4 skill.
6-4, 6 being the skill side, 4 being the luck side. Yeah. I was pretty close to that number
6-4, if not 5-5. But I want to give a little edge to skill because there are a reason that top players are at the top tables. Very rarely and seldomly will you see a kind of aggregate amount of top players just dropping. Like there will be a lot of them that will drop, but the majority of them will continue to play at the top tables. And that's why I want to give the edge to skill. But luck plays a huge part of it, right? Just like Joshua said earlier, there are a lot of factors like your regional matchups that are predetermined by matchup. Like sometimes you're playing Lucci and you just queue into a Blackbeard. Sometimes you play Nami and you dodge all RP laws.
Yeah.
Like this matters.
Yep. And that being said, sometimes top players make do. As Tor and I have been saying a lot recently, pretty girls make do. I think Sam beat a Blackbeard in his run at Toronto. And so,
I also want to give a shout out to Jackson because Jackson's run was like against 3 or 4 Bella Bettys and he beat them all.
Yeah, and that's obviously a bad matchup as GP is. So.
After watching him play against like the 4th Bella Betty in Top Cut, I'm like, this is bad for Bella Betty. This looks bad for Bella Betty. How the hell is this guy winning? This is crazy.
So I think pretty girls make do. They figure out how to find even if it's a 1% edge, the best players will find it, right? So.
That's it.
That's it
for our
We
takes.
got to the end. Yeah, we got to the end of the hot takes. Thank you guys so much for sharing with us your hot takes. Let us know more hot takes. We want to do this. Okay, so this is a little bit of a embarrassing story to tell, but this is actually our second time filming this because originally we were going to do it with hot wings and do hot wings. We ate like half the hot wings that we ordered. Turns out we weren't recording, so we had to start over. But that being said, we would love to do like this episode again with those hot sauces and do that.
The hot wings were good. The hot wings were good.
They were really
they were good.
They were delicious.
Yeah.
Not very spicy.
Not very spicy.
Overall.
So next time we'll do it with really spicy stuff.
Yeah. So, but this is something that we want to do again in the future. But
yeah, give us more of your hot takes in the comment section below.
Yep. And maybe we'll use them in our future version of this. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a good one. See you guys next time.
See ya.
Peace.